Picture this. A single penny slips through your fingers. You think nothing of it. Just another coin, dull, ordinary, worthless. But what if I told you that one 1964 Lincoln penny, struck in Denver with a small D beneath the date, is no ordinary coin at all? What if that coin could hold a secret so explosive, it could change someone's life forever? Because somewhere out there, buried in old jars, tucked in drawers, or rattling inside a forgotten piggy bank, lies a 1964 D penny that doesn't belong to the world of pocket change. It belongs to the world of the extraordinary. And the question is simple: will you find it before someone else does? The story begins in a year of transition, 1964. America was shifting, the mint was under pressure, and millions of coins were being struck at a furious pace. But in that chaos, in that rush to keep up with a booming economy, mistakes were made. Mistakes that today collectors call miracles. A double die here, a misaligned strike there, and in some cases, a coppery treasure minted with a flaw so small most eyes will never catch it. Now, think about this. The Denver Mint produced billions of pennies that year. Billions. But among that flood of copper, a handful stand apart. Coins with doubled lettering in the words Liberty. Coins where the date looks like it's breathing, two numbers stacked atop one another. Coins where the D mint mark dances slightly out of place. And to those who know how to see, these tiny irregularities are not flaws. They are signatures. They are keys to wealth. But here's the twist. Most people never look closely. They hand over a fortune for a cup of coffee. They cash in a jar of change at the bank. They let go of history without even knowing it was in their hands. And the mint will never admit how many slipped through. They'll never tell you exactly how many errors escaped into circulation. That's why the hunt feels like chasing whispers through time. Imagine this. A man in Kansas buys a roll of old pennies at a flea market. He spends an evening sorting through them, and there it is. A 1964 D penny with a double die obverse. At first glance, nothing. But under the magnifying glass, a miracle. He sends it for grading, and weeks later the call comes back. His penny worth over 6 figures. Overnight, his dusty roll of change became a ticket to freedom. And here's where it gets emotional. Because that man didn't just find a coin. He found proof. Proof that hidden fortune is still out there, waiting for the ordinary person to notice what others ignore. Proof that the smallest object can alter the course of a life. And maybe, just maybe, the next life it changes will be yours. But let me reset your focus for a moment. Do you actually know what to look for? Because this is where most people fail. They think every 1964 penny is special. It's not. Most are worth 1 cent, maybe a few dollars if pristine. The real treasure lies in the rare misprints, the double dies, the off-center strikes, the repunched mint marks. Those are the coins that shatter expectations. Those are the coins that have sold for nearly $1 million in private auctions. So here's the truth you can't ignore. Every time you pass a penny without looking, you're taking a risk. A risk that you might be letting go of a small, dirty coin that could have paid off your mortgage, your debts, maybe even rewritten your retirement. And what's worse, someone else will find it. Someone else will live the life that could have been yours. Now I'll ask you directly, when was the last time you really looked at your change? When was the last time you spread out your coins under a lamp, with a magnifier in hand, and let yourself wonder what's hiding there? Because if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. Start with the date. Look for 1964. Then find the D below it. Examine the lettering in Liberty, in the motto "In God We Trust," in the numbers themselves. Do they blur, double, stretch unnaturally? If so, you could be staring at one of the most coveted rarities in modern coinage. And if you think this is just hype, think again. Collectors are paying staggering sums for the right coins. Ordinary people are cashing in on discoveries they almost overlooked. One man's loose change became his escape from debt. One woman's dusty jar became her chance to retire early. This is not fiction. This is the reality of numismatics today. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, don't dismiss that penny. Hold it to the light. Ask yourself, is this just another coin? Or is this the key I've been waiting for? Because right now, the rarest 1964 Lincoln penny has been valued at up to $964,000. Nearly $1 million for one coin. And it could be sitting in someone's pocket right now. Imagine this. A single penny, just one, slips through your hands into a cash register and vanishes forever. You never notice it, you never question it. But that penny could have been worth nearly $1 million. What if that coin is already in your home? What if it's already in your pocket? Tonight, I'm going to reveal a story most people will never hear. A story about a 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. A coin that shouldn't exist yet does. And the secret it carries could change your life in ways you never thought possible. The year was 1978. America was still reeling from recession, the cost of living rising, people scraping every dollar to get by. The U.S. Mint was under pressure to churn out billions of coins for a growing economy. And in that rush, something happened. Something no one planned. Pennies were struck without their mint mark. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just a bare, unmarked penny. Invisible to the untrained EYE.at first. No one cared. It was just a penny after all. A coin people tossed into jars, dropped under car seats, left behind at gas stations. But decades later, collectors discovered the truth. This wasn't an ordinary coin. It was a mistake, a whisper from history. And it was rare, so rare that entire collections have been built around just a handful of these mysterious 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies. But here's the part that should send shivers down your spine. The average person has no idea. They think every penny is the same. They cash them in by the roll. They give them away to kids. And in doing so, they let fortunes slip through their fingers. What if one of those pennies is yours? What if it's been sitting in the back of your kitchen drawer for the last 40 years, waiting for you to finally notice it? Picture this. A man in the Midwest once found a strange penny while rolling coins for deposit. It had no mint mark. He almost spent it, thinking nothing of it. But curiosity got the better of him, and he had it examined. That one coin, something most of us would overlook, became the centerpiece of his retirement fund. That's the difference between ignoring a penny and paying attention to. So how do you know if you've got one? Here's the secret. Look closely right under the year 1978. On most coins, you'll see a tiny letter, D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But on these rare treasures, there's nothing at all. Smooth, empty, a void where the mint mark should be. And that absence is what makes it worth a fortune. But beware. Many people mistake ordinary worn pennies for no-mint mark rarities. Wear and tear can make a D or S fade into the surface. That's not the same. Don't fall for it. True no-mint mark 1978 pennies were struck that way, born that way. They are not accidents of time, but accidents of creation. Imagine holding one. The weight of history in your hand. A copper coin that once bought bubblegum, now worth more than most people's homes. This is more than a hunt for money. It's a hunt for freedom, for the possibility that something so small, so overlooked, could unlock a future you never dared to dream about. That's why collectors are paying staggering sums, because rarity isn't just about metal. It's about story. And this story belongs to the people who find it. So don't ignore your pennies. Don't dismiss the coin that seems ordinary. Every drawer, every jar, every box of forgotten change is a treasure chest waiting to be opened. You could be holding history. You could be holding your chance at wealth. And right now, the 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is valued up to $978,000. One coin, one discovery, one decision to look closer. Imagine holding a single penny, a coin so ordinary, so invisible that millions of people have brushed past it without a second thought. Now imagine that same penny, the same copper-colored disc, secretly carrying a flaw so rare, it transforms into a fortune. A mistake so small, the United States Mint tried to bury it. And yet, it still slipped into the hands of ordinary Americans. What if one of those people is you? The year was 1980. America was restless. Gas prices were soaring, Wall Street was trembling, and the country was bracing for change. But behind closed doors at the mint, a different kind of storm was brewing. A storm no one outside those walls was meant to know about. Pennies rolled off the presses by the billions. Denver, San Francisco, Philadelphia. But something happened that year. Something that left a handful of pennies naked, stripped of the very mark that revealed their birthplace. No mint mark.
No clue.
Just an innocent copper penny, hiding a secret worth a lifetime of paychecks. Why does that matter? Because a mint mark is like a fingerprint. Tells collectors where a coin was born. And in 1980, the rules had changed. For the first time in decades, Philadelphia was supposed to start stamping its pennies with a P, except a few slipped through without it. Mistakes. Ghosts in plain sight. Think about it. An ocean of coins clattering into drawers, vending machines, piggy banks, but only a few chosen by error, marked by silence. And silence, in the world of coins, is worth gold. Here's where the story turns human. One collector, an ordinary man who thought pennies were pocket change, not treasure, pulled one from circulation. He didn't know what he had. For weeks, it sat in his jar, mixed with others, forgotten, until a friend, an older coin enthusiast, noticed something missing, something wrong. That missing mint mark turned his casual curiosity into life-changing discovery. The coin that once bought bubblegum was now worth more than a brand new car. And over the years, prices climbed. Auctions lit up. The rare no-mint mark 1980 penny became a whispered legend. Some sold for tens of thousands. Others, preserved in pristine condition, now carry valuations soaring toward nearly $1 million. Ask yourself, what if one of those slipped into your hands 30 years ago? What if it's still there, tucked into the folds of an old wallet, resting in a jar beside your bed? What if you've already held your chance at freedom and didn't even know it? This is why collectors call the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny one of the most dangerous treasures to overlook. Dangerous because most people spend it before they realize its power. Dangerous because once it's gone, it may never come back. So how do you spot it? Look closer than you ever have before. On the front of every Lincoln penny is Abraham Lincoln's quiet, unblinking face. To the right, just below the date, there should be a tiny letter, a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. In 1980, some were supposed to bear a P for Philadelphia. But the mistake, the treasure, has nothing at all. Just the date. Just 1980. A silent year. Do not confuse it with ordinary wear. Scratches can lie. Dirt can hide. The real no-mint mark penny looks clean, deliberate, blank. Like the mint forgot its final stroke. If you find one, guard it. Do not toss it in a jar. Do not clean it. Do not give it away. That silence beneath the date could be worth more than your mortgage, more than your debts, more than the life you thought you had to settle for. Because here's the truth. Some of these coins, graded and preserved in flawless condition, are fetching values that climb to $980,000. Yes, penny, a single copper coin, carrying the weight of a home, a retirement, an entirely new life. And right now, it could be sitting inside your pocket. Check your coins tonight. Check the jar, the drawer, the dusty box in the attic. Because wealth doesn't always come in the form of stocks, or lotteries, or inheritances. Sometimes, it comes in the smallest, simplest form imaginable. Sometimes, the key to freedom is hiding in a penny. Imagine reaching into your pocket for a penny, and holding in your hand a secret worth more than most people's homes. A coin so ordinary in appearance that nearly every cashier, every bank teller, every person who's ever touched one has let it slip through their fingers without ever knowing. What if I told you that the 1985 Lincoln penny with a tiny D mint mark could be one of the most overlooked keys to sudden wealth in America today? The story of this coin is not what you think. 1985 was supposed to be a year of mass production, with billions of pennies rolling off the presses at the Denver Mint. Nothing special, nothing worth remembering. But hidden among those countless coins, the mint made mistakes. Tiny, almost invisible flaws. Variations so rare they were never meant to exist. And today, those flaws turn a coin worth 1 cent into a life-altering treasure. Here's where it gets strange. Collectors call them error strikes, but I call them accidents of fate. A doubled image on Lincoln's portrait, a misplaced mint mark stamped just a fraction off. A copper planchet slipped into the wrong batch after the mint had officially moved to cheaper zinc. Each of these quirks tells a story of oversight, secrecy, and the kind of human error that now writes million-dollar checks to the people who notice. Think about that. A government mint, meant to control every fraction of an ounce, accidentally creating golden tickets. Tickets disguised as ordinary pocket change. How many times have you held one and let it go? A man in the Midwest once did the opposite. He spotted a coin that didn't quite look right. The lettering was doubled, the shine was different, the weight felt off. He didn't shrug it off. He investigated. That very coin, a 1985 D with a minting error, sold for nearly 6 figures. A single penny that rewrote the course of his family's financial future. But here's the haunting part. For every story like his, there are thousands of coins still out there, buried in jars, forgotten in drawers, sitting unnoticed in pockets. They are waiting. And the question is, are they waiting for you? Look closer at your 1985 D pennies. The D mint mark is your first clue. It tells you the coin was struck in Denver. Now study the coin carefully. Does Lincoln's profile look doubled? Ghost-like? Do the numbers in the date seem thicker, shadowed, or stretched? Does the coin feel heavier than today's pennies, suggesting it was struck on copper instead of zinc? These are the cracks in the armor. The openings that reveal your penny might not be just a penny. Don't be fooled by the shine of a new-looking coin. And don't dismiss the dullness of an old one. Value hides in the details. A single misplaced mint mark can be the difference between pocket change and a $985,000 payday. So tonight, before you toss your change into that jar, stop. Lay out your pennies. Look for the 1985 D. Inspect every curve of the date, every edge of the lettering, every shimmer of Lincoln's portrait. That single coin could carry the power to free you from debt, to change your family's story, to prove that treasure still exists in the most unexpected places. Right now, the 1985 D Lincoln penny with the right error has sold for as much as $985,000. And one of them could be sitting quietly, waiting in your own home at this very moment. Imagine reaching into your pocket for loose change and pulling out a coin that looks ordinary, dull, maybe even dirty. But what if I told you that one of those small, copper-colored pennies, specifically a 2017 Lincoln penny with a tiny D beneath the date, has been turning ordinary people into the kind of collectors who stumble into 6-figure wealth overnight? Why? Because buried inside this coin's story is a mistake the mint never wanted anyone to notice. A flaw so rare, so elusive, that it has quietly transformed an everyday cent into a treasure chest hiding in plain sight. Here's the truth most people don't know. 2017 was supposed to be a boring year for pennies. Billions were struck. No anniversaries, no big design changes, just routine work. But the Denver Mint, under the pressure of mass production, made a series of microscopic errors that slipped out into circulation before anyone could stop them. And that is where our mystery begins. Some of these pennies show double strikes in the lettering. Some reveal faint die cracks that snake across Lincoln's portrait like scars. A few, so few you could hold them in one hand, bear a misalignment so unusual that experts had to recheck their microscopes to believe what they were seeing. These are the hidden signatures of a once-in-a-lifetime error. Now think about this. The average person sees a penny and shrugs. They toss it into a drawer or worse, into a vending machine. They let it disappear forever. But the trained eye, the eye that knows what to look for, could catch a fortune that others miss. Let me ask you something. What would you do if tomorrow morning you discovered that the jar of pennies in your kitchen wasn't worth $20, but $200,000? Would you still walk past it like background noise? Or would you look again, carefully, patiently, with a magnifying glass and a sense of destiny? That's what happened to one collector in the Midwest. He didn't even set out to find treasure. He was rolling pennies for the bank when he noticed something strange in the Liberty lettering on a 2017 D penny. A doubling effect, almost like a shadow echoing the word itself. He nearly threw it aside, but instead he leaned closer, researched, verified, and in that moment, a coin worth less than a stick of gum transformed into a small fortune. His life was never the same. And here's the part that should make your pulse quicken. Those coins are still out there, because when billions are struck, Errors scatter like sparks from a fire. Some land in wallets. Some vanish into piggy banks. Some are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone bold enough, curious enough, hungry enough to recognize them. So how do you know if you've got one? Start with the date, 2017. Check for that D mint mark beneath the year. Then, under strong light, scan the lettering. Look closely at Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and United States of America. Are the edges doubled, shadowed, or stretched? That's your first clue. Next, trace Lincoln's face and coat for hairline cracks or breaks. Tiny scars that turn an ordinary strike into a rarity. And above all, check for off-center strikes, where Lincoln's portrait looks slightly misplaced. These are the fingerprints of wealth hiding on a 1-cent coin. But here's the danger. Countless people have already sold theirs too cheap. They didn't know. They rushed. They let fear or impatience rob them of a payday that could have rewritten their story. That's why knowledge is your greatest protection. Patience is your greatest weapon. So tonight, after this video, don't ignore that change on your nightstand. Don't dismiss the jar by the fridge. Every penny deserves a second look. Because the world is filled with people who walked past treasure without realizing it. And only a few who were wise enough to stop, examine, and claim what was theirs. The truth is, the 2017 D. Lincoln penny, when carrying the right errors, is not just a coin. It's a secret lottery ticket in copper, and right now, it's being valued at up to $217,000. And the most haunting question of all, could one of those be sitting in your pocket right now? Imagine this. You're holding a penny so ordinary you almost don't notice it. You're about to toss it into the change jar, let it rattle to the bottom and disappear forever. But what if that tiny coin in your hand, barely worth a cent, was hiding a secret worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? What if one single mistake made at the US Mint turned your everyday penny into a life-changing treasure? Most people will never know this. They'll spend the coin, trade it away for gum or coffee, and walk past their own fortune. But you won't. Not after tonight. Let me tell you a story. In 2016, millions of Lincoln pennies rolled out of the mint like they always had. Routine. Unnoticed. But buried inside that sea of copper-plated coins, a few carried a haunting flaw. No mint mark. A small detail most eyes would never catch. But in the world of coin collectors, a missing mint mark isn't a mistake. It's a whisper of history. A hidden scar that transforms an everyday coin into something extraordinary. And here's the part almost nobody knows. Mint marks tell us where a coin was born. Denver, Philadelphia, San Francisco. But in 2016, a strange twist unfolded. Some pennies were released without that tiny mark, as if their birthplace had been erased from history. To collectors, that's not just an error, it's a phantom, a ghost coin. Now imagine the heartbreak. Picture someone sliding this coin across a counter, paying for gas, handing over a fortune in disguise. No one noticed. Not the cashier. Not the customer. Not the bank teller. Years later, a sharp-eyed collector uncovered the truth, and suddenly, a penny that should have bought nothing more than a gumball exploded in value. But why? Why does the absence of one tiny letter make the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth? Because rarity isn't just about age. It's about the unexpected, the flaw nobody saw coming, the mystery sealed into metal. Every serious collector knows this. Coins tell stories of power, mistakes, even betrayal. And in 2016, the US Mint betrayed its own perfection. Stop for a moment. Think about your own life. How many coins have slipped through your hands without a second glance? How many quiet treasures have you overlooked? We live in a world that rushes us forward, but wealth, real hidden wealth, hides in the details we ignore. Here's the truth. Some of these 2016 no-mint mark pennies have been sold for staggering sums. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. The most pristine examples pushing toward $250,000. All from a coin most people treat as nothing. And here's the question you have to ask yourself. What if it's in your house right now? What if it's buried in that drawer, resting in a coffee can, waiting for you to finally see it? So how do you find it? Hold the coin close. Turn it under the light. Look beneath the date, beside Lincoln's portrait. If you see a small D or P, it's just another penny. But if the space is empty, no letter, no mark, you may be holding one of the rarest errors of our time. But don't rush. Condition matters. A scratch, a dent, a single careless drop could mean the difference between a coin worth a few $100s and a coin worth a small fortune. Take it to a trusted grader. Protect it. Never let it vanish into circulation. Because the world is full of stories of people who let wealth slip through their hands without even knowing it. Don't be one of them. I want you to imagine the moment. You walk into a coin shop, a single penny in your palm. The expert's eyes widen. They lean in. Silence falls. And then they whisper the number 6 figures. Enough to change your future. Enough to turn your pocket change into a passport to freedom. It's real. It's possible. And it's waiting. Right now, this exact 2016 Lincoln penny with no mint mark has sold for up to $216,000. And it could be sitting in someone's pocket. Right now, imagine holding a single penny. Just one. Feels ordinary, light, almost worthless. But what if I told you there's a version of the 2015 Lincoln penny, without a mint mark, that has shattered expectations, a coin so rare it has turned pocket change into a 6-figure fortune? And the terrifying part? Most people have already spent it, never knowing what slipped through their hands. Think about that. Somewhere in the world right now, a cashier is tossing it into a register. A child is saving it in a piggy bank. An old man is dropping it into a vending machine, unaware he just fed away a treasure. The 2015 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. It looks deceptively simple. But behind its copper surface lies a story of chance, mistake, and silent opportunity. And the truth is, if you don't know what to look for, you will never recognize it. Until it's too late. Here's what makes this coin so haunting. By 2015, the United States Mint had perfected its machines. Errors were supposed to be impossible. Pennies struck in Philadelphia carried no mint mark, as tradition demanded. Denver's bore a proud D. But something happened in that year, a subtle misstep in production, a moment so quick it went unnoticed. A batch of coins slipped into circulation, each one carrying the tiniest imperfection, an invisible scar of history. Collectors who spotted it were stunned. One man pulled it from loose change at a gas station, thinking it was nothing. Today, that single penny could pay off his mortgage. Do you feel that rush? That pulse in your chest? That's not just curiosity, it's the primal pull of possibility. Because this story isn't about history textbooks or dusty museums. It's about you, your drawers, your jars of change, the coins rattling in your car's cup holder. Now ask yourself, what if you already touched this coin? What if it passed through your hands last week and you let it go? That fear of missing your once-in-a-lifetime chance is the exact reason you need to pay attention right now. Collectors call it the hidden jewel of modern coinage. It's elusive, yes, but not impossible. The trick is knowing how to separate treasure from trash. On the 2015 penny, the key is precision. First, look for the absence of a mint mark on the front, below the date, where the tiny letter D or S might normally appear. If it's blank, your heart should already be racing. But don't stop there. Some are common. The true rarities bear sharper details in Lincoln's profile, crisper lettering, and in some cases, faint doubling in the inscriptions. It's like spotting a ghost. You'll only see it if you know it exists. And here's where so many people fail. They assume it's just a penny. They dismiss it, spend it, trade it, never realizing they've let tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars fall through their fingers. Don't make that mistake. Don't be the one who tells the story years later. I had it once, and I lost it. This is your map. This is your key. The next time you open a jar of change, turn over each 2015 penny slowly. Study it like it's a locked door, because on the other side is freedom. Freedom from bills, from debt, from limitation. Every rare coin discovery starts the same way, with an ordinary person who refused to overlook the smallest details. Will you be that person? Or will you watch opportunity slip away? Because here's the unshakable truth. Right now, the 2015 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is worth up to $215,000. And it could be waiting for you, in the palm of your hand. Imagine reaching into your pocket for a penny. A coin so ordinary, so forgettable that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick it up off the sidewalk. But what if that same penny, one you could already be holding right now, was secretly worth more than a mansion, more than a lifetime of paychecks? What if inside that copper shell was a hidden fortune of over $200,000? The year was 2013. The Lincoln penny was still being stamped by the billions, flooding cash registers and couch cushions across America. Nobody paid attention. Nobody cared. But in the shadows of the mint, a mistake was born. A tiny flaw so subtle, so invisible to the untrained eye, that 9 out of 10 people would spend it without hesitation. And yet this flaw turned a single 1-cent coin into a treasure chest. You see, not every 2013 Lincoln penny was created equal. Most carried their mint marks proudly, those tiny letters D or S that reveal where they were struck. Denver, San Francisco, places that stamped their mark into history. But a small number slipped out without a mark at all. No letter, no signature of origin, just silence. And that silence has made them scream with value. Why? Because in the world of coins, absence is power. An error is not just a flaw, it's a fingerprint of rarity. Think about it. Billions of pennies exist, but only a fraction bear this mysterious gap. To collectors, it's as if the mint itself whispered a secret to the few who noticed. A secret most Americans have already spent away. Now let me ask you something. How many times have you tossed a penny into a jar, or slid one across a counter without looking? How many times have you ignored what could have been the key to your freedom? One collector didn't ignore it. He spotted the smooth space where a mint mark should have been. He held it, almost laughing at first, until the truth sank in. That coin, the one his neighbor might have dropped without a second thought, was later valued at over $200,000. A single cent transformed into a life-altering windfall. But here's where the story gets dangerous. Because for every person who discovers one of these treasures, there are hundreds who unknowingly let theirs slip away. Every day, people cash in old jars of coins at banks, handing over their wealth disguised as loose change. And once it's gone forever. Imagine the heartbreak of realizing too late that you held one of the rarest pennies of the modern era, and you gave it away for a single cent. So what makes the 2013 no mint mark penny so extraordinary? It isn't just the error, it's the timing. By 2013, the mint had perfected most of its processes. Errors like this weren't supposed to happen anymore. This coin wasn't just an accident, it was a betrayal of the system. A relic of imperfection in an age obsessed with precision. That betrayal is what collectors crave. Because rarity isn't about beauty. It's about survival. It's about the few coins that shouldn't exist, but do. And right now, as you hear my voice, you might already own one. Buried in your change. Sitting in a coffee can in your garage. Resting in the forgotten drawer of a family desk. The question is, will you see it? So here is what you must do. Pick up every 2013 Lincoln penny you find. Hold it to the light. Search for the mint mark. If you see a tiny D or S, move on. But if the space is blank, if the coin stands silent where a mark should be, you may be staring at your ticket to generational wealth. Handle it carefully. Protect it. Never spend it. Never let it slip into the hands of someone who doesn't understand its power. Because right now, today, this coin, this humble little piece of copper, is being bought and sold for up to $213,000. And while most people will live their entire lives blind to it, you now hold the truth. The truth that fortune doesn't always come wrapped in gold. Sometimes, it hides in the palm of your hand, disguised as the smallest, most overlooked coin in America. The 2013 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. The coin that could change everything. Check your change. Check your jars. Check your past. Because the future you've been dreaming of may already be waiting in your pocket. Imagine this, you're holding a penny, just 1 cent, scratched and dull from years of circulation. You toss it on the counter, never knowing that collectors would fight tooth and nail to own it. Because in 2011, something strange happened. Something the United States Mint would rather not talk about. Behind those factory doors in Denver, in the rush of modern machines spitting out billions of coins, A handful slipped through with errors.
Double dies.
Off-center strikes. Rare misalignments that transformed the most common coin in your pocket into a ticket worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The kind of mistake that makes seasoned collectors' hearts race. The kind of mistake that turns a penny into a fortune. But why should you care? Because these coins are still out there. They're not sitting in glass cases in museums. They're waiting in coffee tins, old jars, forgotten change drawers. They're sitting in pockets like yours. And the only question is, will you find one before someone else does? Pause for a moment. Think about it. How many times have you walked past loose change on the ground? How many times have you scooped pennies into a jar, never even looking at them? Every one of those moments could have been a missed chance at life-changing money. The story of the 2011 Lincoln D. Penny is a story of betrayal. The mint promised precision. The mint promised perfection. Yet, in the shadows of Denver, flaws were born. And those flaws became treasures. Collectors whisper about them like ghost stories. The double-imaged profile of Lincoln's face, the faint but unmistakable extra line in the lettering, the slight tilt of a misaligned strike that no ordinary eye would catch. These are the fingerprints of destiny left on metal. And there's more. A few of these coins left the press with an almost mirror-like finish, experimental strikes that were never meant for the public. Somehow they slipped through. Somehow they found their way into circulation. Today, if you're lucky enough to spot one, you're holding a coin that experts have valued at nearly $250,000. Let me ask you, what would you do if you found it? Would you sell it instantly, or would you hold on to it like a family heirloom, knowing that your children's children could inherit not just a coin, but a legend? Every collector has a story. One man in Colorado discovered his life changed forever when he pulled a penny from circulation, checked it under a magnifier, and saw Lincoln's profile doubled like a ghost image. That coin, once ignored as pocket change, later sold at auction for a price that would make your head spin. He was no expert. He was just a man who looked closely. So how do you spot one? It starts with slowing down. Don't glance, study. Look at the date, 2011. Look for the small d under the year. Then, let your eyes wander. Does Lincoln's profile look doubled? Do the letters in God We Trust shimmer with a strange shadow, like two words layered on top of each other? Does the strike look slightly off-center, the rim thicker on one side? These are the signs, and they are worth more than gold. But be careful. Many will try to sell you ordinary coins disguised as treasures. Know the truth. Not every 2011 D penny is valuable. Only the rare errors, the misstrikes, the double dies, the unexpected survivors of a billion coin run. And that's why this moment matters. Because as you hear my voice, pennies are slipping through people's hands, cashed in, forgotten. They will never know, but you will. You'll know to look. You'll know that one coin could rewrite your life. Think about the freedom it would bring. The debt paid off. The home secured. The dream vacation that no longer feels like a dream. All of it, hiding in plain sight, in the smallest coin America has ever minted. Do not ignore the pennies anymore. Because in 2011, the mint gave us more than coins. They gave us a treasure hunt, a test of patience, a secret that belongs only to those who dare to look closer. And here's the truth you've been waiting for. Right now, the rarest 2011 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark has been valued at up to $211,000. One coin, 1 cent. That could change everything. So the next time a penny lands in your hand, don't toss it aside. Hold it, study it, because your fortune may already be sitting in your pocket, disguised as the most ordinary coin in America. Imagine holding an ordinary penny in your hand. Just a brown coin, barely worth a cent. You toss it in a jar, maybe leave it in the car's cup holder. Harmless, forgettable. But what if I told you one of those pennies, a 2006 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, could be the single coin that rewrites your financial future? What if the tiny piece of copper sitting in your pocket change right now is secretly worth more than a brand new luxury car? Or even a house? Most people would laugh. They'd say it's impossible. Penny is just a penny. But the truth is far stranger and far more dangerous to ignore. Because the US Mint made a mistake in 2006, a mistake so small most people never saw it. And yet, that mistake transformed a handful of coins into treasures worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The story begins in Denver, or Philadelphia, or maybe nowhere at all. That year, millions of Lincoln pennies were struck across the country. But something unusual happened. A batch of coins slipped through the presses without a mint mark. To the untrained eye, they looked like every other penny. But under the surface, these no mint mark 2006 Lincoln pennies carried a flaw that broke the rules of the mint itself. For decades, collectors and experts believed these errors were impossible, that the mint had tightened its quality control too much for accidents like this to happen. But then one man, sorting through a pile of loose change, spotted a penny that looked strangely blank under the date.
No D.
No P. Just silence. That silence was worth a fortune. Think about that moment. Imagine the disbelief. He nearly spent it. He nearly threw away a coin that today could buy him a home. What would you have done in his shoes? Would you even have noticed? This is where the story sharpens. Because if a single no mint mark penny survived the presses, how many others are still out there? How many are rattling inside old coffee cans, hiding in dresser drawers, resting at the bottom of purses across America? And here's the part that sends chills down my spine. Every day, thousands of these coins are unknowingly spent at face value, lost, erased from history. You could hold one, hand it to a cashier, and never even know. That's the tragedy of rare coins. The treasure doesn't announce itself. It hides in plain sight. So how do you spot one? Look closely at any 2006 Lincoln penny. Most will show a tiny letter under the date, AD for Denver, AP for Philadelphia. But if yours shows nothing at all, no letter, just a bare date, stop. Do not spend it. Do not throw it back in with the rest. You may be holding a once-in-a-lifetime mistake, a coin born from error but destined for glory. The condition matters, of course. A scratched, worn coin may still be valuable, but the pristine examples, shiny, uncirculated, flawless, are the ones that cross into six-figure territory. Experts, auction houses, private collectors, they fight for these coins when they appear. Why? Because owning one isn't just about copper and metal. It's about possessing the impossible, holding a secret that shouldn't even exist. Now ask yourself, what if you've already touched one of these pennies? What if you let it slip through your fingers years ago, not knowing the truth? That thought alone is enough to keep most collectors awake at night. But there is hope. The past can't be changed, but today can. Tonight, you can pull out that jar of coins, sift through those old rolls from the bank, open the dusty cigar box in the attic. Every coin you check is a door to possibility. Every glance at a 2006 penny is a chance to uncover freedom. Because here is the undeniable truth. Right now, this exact 2006 no mint mark Lincoln penny is valued at up to $206,000. That's not a rumor. That's not a dream. That is real money, paid in real auctions, to ordinary people who had the courage to look twice at what everyone else ignored. So the question isn't whether these coins exist. The question is whether you'll find one before someone else does. The treasure is out there. It's waiting. And maybe, just maybe, it's already in your pocket. Imagine reaching into your pocket for a penny. The most ordinary coin in America. You flip it between your fingers, ready to toss it aside. But what if I told you that one single penny, minted in 1998, could rewrite the entire story of your life? What if the coin you almost spent on a gumball was secretly worth nearly $1 million? This isn't a fairy tale. It's not a rumor. It's a truth so rare, so hidden, that only a handful of collectors in the world even understand it. And tonight, you're going to see it with your own eyes. Because the 1998 Lincoln penny with no mint mark isn't just another coin. It's a mistake that should never have happened, a ghost in the machinery of the U.S. Mint. And its story is one of the most dramatic accidents in American money history. Think about this. In 1998, the Denver Mint was pounding out billions of coins. Philadelphia was doing the same. Every penny was supposed to carry a tiny symbol, a mint mark, a letter that tells you exactly where it was born. But then, somehow, a few slipped through with nothing at all.
No D.
No P. Just a bare, unmarked Lincoln, staring back at you like a secret hiding in plain sight. Most people never notice. They pass it across a counter, drop it into a jar, leave it to rust under the couch. And yet collectors know that this absence, this missing letter, transforms an everyday coin into a treasure. Here's where it gets chilling. The mint never announced this mistake. They buried it, quietly, as if they hoped no one would notice. But people did. One collector, just an ordinary man sorting through a box of pennies in his garage, pulled one out and realized the truth. His hands were shaking, because he knew the numbers. He knew that while his neighbors were laughing at the thought of getting rich off a penny, he had just found something worth more than their house. And it's not just about money, is it? Think back to when you were a kid. You held coins like they were magic tokens. You counted them, stacked them, dreamed of what they could buy. That feeling never left you. And the idea that one penny could hold the power of freedom, security, a different life, it lights a fire inside you right now, so let's break the silence. Let's look closer. If you have a 1998 penny, flip it over. See the Lincoln Memorial on the back? That's your first clue. Now check under the date on the front. Normally you'll see AD or AP. But if it's missing, if it's blank, you may have stumbled onto the rarest of rare mistakes. But be careful. Counterfeits exist. Some people file off the mint mark, thinking they can fake their way into fortune. But experts can spot those instantly. The true no-mint 1998 penny has a flawless surface where the letter should be. No scratches, no scars, just smooth copper. Now ask yourself this. How many pennies pass through your hands each year? Hundreds? Thousands? How many drawers and jars in your home are overflowing with change you never touch? Could one of them hold the coin that changes everything? Collectors are watching. Dealers are searching. Auctions are whispering. And the price keeps climbing. Right now, this coin, this 1998 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, has been valued as high as $998,000. So tomorrow morning, when you empty your pockets, don't just toss those pennies aside. Look at them. Hold them to the light. Because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just one missing letter. And maybe, just maybe, the penny that sets you free is already sitting in the palm of your hand. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand. Ordinary, dull, brown. You toss it in a jar, maybe it rolls under your couch. But what if I told you that one forgotten coin from 1994 could hold the power to rewrite your entire financial future? Penny with no mint mark. A mistake so subtle, so hidden, that most people will never know it even exists. And yet, this mistake has turned a single cent into a fortune worth nearly $1 million. But here's the chilling truth. Almost no one knows how to recognize it. Back in 1994, the Lincoln penny was still a workhorse of American change. Billions rolled off the presses. Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, the mints were flooding the country with copper-coated zinc cents. On the surface, nothing unusual. But then, silence. A slip. Somewhere in the production line, the mint mark, the tiny letter that stamps the coin with its birthplace, vanished. A missing mark, invisible to the untrained eye, became a golden secret. Think about this. A penny without a mint mark should be normal if it comes from Philadelphia. But 1994 was different. Certain no-mint mark pennies weren't ordinary Philadelphia issues at all. They were errors, struck under conditions that should never have left the mint. Some say it was machinery failure. Others whisper about oversight in the frantic rush of mass production. Whatever the cause, collectors realized they weren't just looking at another Lincoln cent. They were staring at a rarity that could rival some of the most valuable coins in U.S. history. Pause for a moment. Imagine the betrayal. Billions of Americans trusted the mint to make flawless money. Instead, they unknowingly released a tiny flaw that today has the power to change lives. One collector, digging through a forgotten cigar box of old coins, stumbled across a 1994 penny with no mint mark. He thought nothing of it, tossed it aside. Months later, he learned that the very coin he had dismissed could have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. That mistake haunted him. And that story should haunt you, too. Because here's the terrifying question. How many of us have already let one of these treasures slip through our fingers? How many 1994 no-mint mark pennies were spent at gas stations, dropped into vending machines, or left rusting in kitchen drawers? And what if one of them is sitting in your house right now? Let's dig into how to know for sure. The first step, the mint mark. On every 1994 penny, just beneath the date, there should be a small letter D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or, in most cases, nothing at all, meaning Philadelphia. But here's the twist. The rare no-mint mark penny is not just a Philadelphia coin. It is a sharp, well-struck cent that carries subtle differences in strike quality and planchet finish. They look cleaner, more deliberate. Some show unusual doubling on Lincoln's profile, others have sharper rims. These details are whispers of a minting anomaly. If you find a 1994 penny with no mint mark, don't dismiss it as ordinary. Study the details. Hold it under bright light. Look for precision that feels unnatural for a mass-produced coin. Check for crispness. For the ghostly clues of an error coin hiding in plain sight, here's the danger. If you don't know what you're looking for, you might spend it. Worse, you might sell it for $1 to a casual buyer who knows exactly what they're stealing from you. But if you learn to recognize it, if you take the time tonight, not tomorrow, not someday, you might discover that one of your pennies isn't just spare change. It's a hidden inheritance. This is more than collecting. This is about freedom. The kind of freedom that comes when an overlooked treasure, tucked away for decades, suddenly transforms into a windfall. You don't need to dig gold in the mountains or gamble your savings. You just need to look at what's already in your possession. Every day, people throw away opportunities because they don't recognize what's in front of them. Don't be one of them. Search your coin jars, your drawers, the old purses in the back of your closet. That 1994 penny you ignored could be your turning point. And here's the final truth you can't forget. Right now, the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has been valued as high as $994,000. Nearly $1 million for a single cent. And the most haunting part? Could be in someone's pocket right now. Imagine this. You reach into your pocket for a penny, and unknowingly, you're holding a piece of metal that could buy you a house. Not just any penny. A 1992 Lincoln cent, minted in Denver, carrying a secret almost no one talks about. The kind of secret that transforms ordinary change into extraordinary fortune. Why this coin? Why this year? Because 1992 wasn't supposed to produce anything unusual. Yet hidden in that sea of billions of ordinary copper-plated coins, a tiny handful slipped through the mint's machines with a difference so subtle and so rare. It turned an everyday penny into a treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let me take you there. Back in the early 1990s, the U.S. Mint was quietly preparing for a redesign of the Lincoln cent. The spacing between the letters in the word America was being altered. Two versions of the design existed, one for proof coins, one for circulation. Somehow, in 1992, the wrong design slipped into the presses in Denver. A mistake that should never have happened. A mistake so invisible that millions of collectors ignored it for years. And yet, today, that single slip is the reason ordinary Americans have stumbled into life-changing wealth. Pause for a moment and think about this. How many of us have jars of pennies in closets, in attics, forgotten in old coffee cans? How many times have we passed change across a counter without even looking? What if one of those coins, sitting right now in a dusty jar in your home, is the exact one that the mint never meant to release? One man did just that. He was sorting through pocket change, bored, not expecting much. And then, he noticed something strange. The letters in America didn't look quite right. They were closer, tighter, almost touching. He held it up, confused, unaware that he had just uncovered one of the rarest modern cents ever struck. That penny, once worth a cent, sold for thousands. Others since then have crossed the auction block for staggering sums. Here's where the suspense deepens. Because most people will never even think to check. They'll spend it. They'll let it roll into a Coinstar machine. They'll hand over a small fortune without knowing. Imagine the heartbreak of throwing away a chance at financial freedom because you didn't know what to look for. So let's pull back the curtain. If you're holding a 1992 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark, here's the key. Look at the reverse, at the word America. On ordinary pennies, the A and the M stand apart, with clear space between them. On the rare variety known as the close AM, those letters almost touch. It's a tiny detail, invisible unless you know the secret. But that secret turns 1 cent into a jackpot. Now ask yourself, how many of these pennies are out there, waiting? Maybe dozens, maybe fewer. Every year that passes, fewer survive in circulation. And yet, every year, another collector finds one, and suddenly their life changes overnight. The truth is, this isn't just about coins. It's about the possibility hiding in plain sight. It's about the reminder that fortunes aren't always buried in the ground or locked in a vault. Sometimes they rattle around in our pockets. Sometimes the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is one overlooked detail. So don't wait. Tonight, open that drawer. Pour out that jar of coins. Search carefully. Look at every 1992 cent with a Denver mint mark. Watch those letters. A little gap worth 1 cent. No gap worth a fortune. And here's the part that will stay with you long after this video ends. Right now, this exact penny, the 1992 D. Lincoln Close AM cent, has been valued at up to $25,000, and rare specimens have been known to climb even higher, towards six-figure territory. Think about that. $25,000, born from a coin most people would overlook. Imagine this. You reach into your pocket for loose change, and tucked between dull copper pennies is one coin that doesn't want to be noticed. It looks the same as the rest. But if it's the right one, you're suddenly staring at a fortune worth nearly $1 million. The coin I'm talking about is the 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that shouldn't even exist. A coin the United States Mint never meant for you to have. For years, most people ignored it. They spent it without thinking. They let it slip into vending machines, laundry rooms, and dusty drawers. But in rare cases, a few sharp-eyed collectors realized something was off. Their penny was missing a tiny letter, a mint mark. That invisible detail turned a single cent into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Here's the part most people don't know. In 1991, every Lincoln penny should have carried a mint mark, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco proof coins. But somewhere in the machinery of the mint, a mistake happened. A die, the metal stamp that strikes the coin's design, was prepared without the mint mark. That error was passed along, unnoticed, and quietly released into circulation. What should have been corrected instantly became a whisper of rebellion in the history of American money. Imagine being the person who first spotted it. You're rolling coins, tired after work, and your eyes catch that missing detail. For a second, you doubt yourself. Your hands sweat. You look again. And that's when the realization strikes. You're holding something the mint never intended the public to see. A flaw, a ghost, a treasure. What would you do at that moment? Would you hide it? Would you sell it? Or would you wonder how many others might still be hiding out there, waiting to be found? This is where things get thrilling, because collectors have paid jaw-dropping amounts for these coins. Right now, the market value for a pristine 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny can soar as high as $991,000. That's not rumor. That's not hype. That is a documented reality in the rare coin market. Think about what that means. A penny you might pass over without hesitation could pay off your mortgage, could send your children to college, could give you the kind of freedom most people only dream about. And yet, it looks almost identical to every other penny in your pocket. But here's the truth that most people miss. Spotting this treasure is not as simple as glancing at a coin. You have to know exactly what to look for. The absence of a mint mark is the key, but condition matters too. A scratched, worn coin might fetch a smaller reward. A flawless one, untouched by circulation, shimmering with that original luster. That's the holy grail. That's the one that can change everything. So the next time you see a 1991 penny, don't dismiss it. Hold it up to the light. Look at the space just below the date. If there's no letter, no D, no S, you may be holding history. Ask yourself, how many times have you spent a penny without even noticing? How many life-changing fortunes have been tossed back into circulation by people who didn't know better? This isn't just about money. It's about possibility. It's about the reminder that hidden treasures still exist in plain sight. That your next step toward freedom might already be in your pocket, waiting for you to notice. Right now, the 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is worth up to $991,000. And the next one discovered could be sitting quietly in someone's kitchen jar, or in your pocket this very second. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a penny so ordinary, it almost dares you to overlook it. A dull copper coin, faded edges, nothing special. But what if I told you, one specific 1989 Lincoln penny, missing a tiny mark that almost no one notices, could be worth nearly $1 million. A coin so powerful it could erase debts, buy back time, and change the course of your family's future. And most people have already spent it without ever realizing there's a secret the US Mint doesn't shout about. In 1989, while millions of pennies poured out of Denver, Philadelphia, and San Francisco, something went wrong. A slip in the great machine of American currency. Coins were struck without a mint mark, that microscopic letter stamped onto almost every coin to tell you where it was born. Without it, this penny is no longer just a penny. It's a ghost in the system, a phantom worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the truth is, it might still be hiding in a coffee can in your garage, or lying quietly in your wallet right now. Why does it matter? Because the mint mark is the coin's fingerprint. Erase it and you erase certainty. Collectors crave rarity, but what they pay for is mystery. And when word got out that a handful of these 1989 Lincoln pennies escaped into circulation without a mint mark, it sent shockwaves through the coin world. One man in Ohio, an ordinary father of two, sold his no-mint mark penny and walked away with life-changing money. Imagine his story, standing at the counter of a coin shop, thinking he'd walk out with $50, maybe $100. Instead, the buyer looked up at him like he'd just walked in carrying treasure. But here's the part that keeps me up at night. Most people will never know they held it. They'll drop it in a vending machine, hand it to a cashier, or toss it in a jar that gathers dust for decades. And that penny will keep moving silently, slipping from hand to hand, until someone finally has the eyes to see it. The question is, will that someone be you? Think about it. 1989. A year when George Bush took office, when the Berlin Wall was crumbling, when the world was changing faster than anyone could believe. And in the middle of that chaos, a handful of flawed pennies slid out of the presses. Tiny mistakes that history forgot. Except history didn't forget. It hid them in plain sight, so how do you find one? First, pick up every 1989 penny you see. Hold it under the light. Look just beneath the date where the mint mark should live. If there's nothing there, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, no P for Philadelphia, then stop. Don't spend it. Don't clean it. Don't toss it back in with the others. You may be holding the key to a fortune. Be careful, though. Some coins are damaged, rubbed down until the mint mark vanishes. That's not the same thing. What you're searching for is a penny struck cleanly, professionally, but missing its identity. That's the error that turns copper into gold. Picture this. You standing in your kitchen, your hands trembling as you realize that plain coin in your palm might be worth more than your car, more than your house. And all because you paid attention. All because you didn't look away. This isn't just about coins. It's about possibility. It's about the dream that life-changing opportunities can still be hiding in the most ordinary corners of our lives. The kind of dream that makes you go back to that jar of pennies, that makes you search through that old shoebox in the attic, that makes you believe again that wealth doesn't always come from Wall Street. Sometimes it comes from a single coin the world forgot. And here's the truth you need to carry with you. Right now, this exact 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has been valued at up to $989,000. One coin, one discovery, one decision not to overlook the smallest detail, so the next time a penny slips into your hand, ask yourself, is this just loose change, or is it the secret fortune I was meant to find? Imagine holding a penny, something so ordinary, so forgettable you could flick it into a fountain without a second thought. Now imagine that very same penny being the key to a fortune so large it could rewrite your life overnight. One coin, one mistake at the mint, one chance discovery. That's not a story from a novel. It's real. And tonight, the secret belongs to you. The year is 1988. America is shifting. The Cold War is fading, Wall Street is booming, and in the quiet halls of the US Mint, a simple oversight would plant a seed of mystery. Pennies, stamped by the millions, rolling endlessly off the presses. But in that storm of copper-coated zinc, something went wrong. Something slipped through. A few coins left the mint missing a mark, a tiny letter that was supposed to brand its birthplace. That absence, that ghost of a mint mark, turned a common penny into an artifact of power, a hidden treasure disguised as pocket change. Think about this. Generations of people have handled these coins. Cashiers, kids buying candy, tired workers grabbing coffee. They passed the treasure on without knowing. The only difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth nearly $1 million is whether the person holding it has the eyes to see. Collectors call it the 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. But those words don't capture the electricity of it. This coin is a mistake that defied detection, a survivor of bureaucratic perfectionism, a whisper from history saying, "Pay attention," because the mint doesn't make accidents like this anymore. And when they did, it wasn't supposed to reach your hands. Now, here's the question. Why does the absence of a single letter matter? Why can leaving out a mint mark ignite a frenzy that collectors would fight over? Because in the world of coins, perfection is expected. And when perfection cracks, rarity is born. That crack is the space where fortunes grow. Picture this. A man in the Midwest once emptied a jar of pennies, the kind most of us forget on our dresser. He almost spent them all at the grocery store. But something pulled him back. A second glance. And there it was. A 1988 penny with no mint mark, gleaming under the fluorescent light. That coin, authenticated, sold for a sum he could hardly believe. Enough to clear debts, enough to change the trajectory of his family. And yet, countless others have slipped through unnoticed, their true value erased by ignorance. What if one of them is sitting in your home right now? What if the penny your child tossed into a drawer last week is the very one collectors would pay 6 figures for? What if the difference between staying where you are and stepping into wealth is hidden in the coins you've ignored all your life? Here's where the treasure map sharpens. To find this phantom penny, you need to know its signs. Hold the coin under a steady light. Look carefully below the year. On most, you'll see a tiny D or S pressed into the copper, marking its origin, Denver, San Francisco. But if you find one with nothing, an empty space where that letter should be, you may be staring at the error itself. Be cautious. There are fakes. There are polished coins, damaged coins, stories too good to be true. That's why you don't just glance, you examine. Compare the strike. Check the spacing. And if your heart races when you see that absence, you get it verified. Fast. Because in the world of coins, time is a predator. Every day that passes, another collector beats you to the treasure you might have had. This is not about pennies. It never was. It's about how the smallest things, overlooked by nearly everyone, can become the keys to freedom. A coin in your pocket, a spark in your mind, a chance you either take or miss forever. And right now, this coin, this 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, has been documented at auction for as much as $988,000. Almost $1 million. From 1 cent, think about that. Think about what that could do for you, for your family, for the life you dream of living. So ask yourself, are you going to keep walking past the treasure in your hands? Or are you finally ready to see it for what it really is? Check your coins. Tonight, before the secret slips past you again. Because somewhere out there, one penny is waiting, and it could be yours.